Welcome everyone to another episode of the Warmup. I'm here with the guys. It is me, man, Chris Wave. We got Deuce. We got Reg in the building. We have Kev RL. Say what's up to the people who are joining and tuned in this episode, guys.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining.
What's up? What's up?
Hey, it's good to be back.
Cool. You was back last week, but you know, thanks for being consistent. Thanks for being consistent.
Good to be back for the first time.
You're a 2-game winning streak. You're a 2-week winning streak.
First time this week.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. And if this is your first time listening to us, man, this is a place where we talk about sports, current events, and things in between through the lens of Black culture. We just talk about sports, man. You catch us every Wednesday here, man, on YouTube. You can always catch us on the audio side of the platform, podcast platform that you are already tuned into, whether that's Apple, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast from. Check us out there, and check us out on the social media side of things, man. Instagram, Twitter, _warmup_pod. TikTok, warmup.pod. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I got
a lot of names were taken on TikTok.
Well, it may be banned, so we'll see. So, and then finally catch us on the Discord and Reddit, Grindhouse NTWK for the Reddit, and then Grindhouse Network, which is a searchable community domain server on Discord. If you are familiar with Discord, you know how it works. So just search for us. It's a public searchable domain or server room. We talk about sports and unrelated stuff also. So feel free to check us out there. And anything else you guys want to add?
I think you hit on them notes, man. Appreciate it.
Cool. Well, let's jump right into it. School is out for the athletes of all the respective colleges who actually had college teams playing in the NCAA tournament, and both men and women. I think both of them were excited. I think for the men's side of things, everyone's bracket was broken from the first day, and the women's usually are overshadowed by the men, but this year the women took the crown. Like, they were the most exciting tournament to watch. And the championship game was very entertaining, right? So, the Iowa, what the Eagles, Raptors, what do they call themselves?
Hawkeyes.
Hawkeyes. Yeah, I knew it was a bird. So Iowa Hawkeyes went up against the LSU Tigers, and there was a lot of chirping. There was a lot of passion. And LSU ended up coming away with the win, a very convincing win. It was a 102-85, something like that. And so as people who are passionate about their craft, there's some celebratory moments, and Caitlin Clark was involved in both of them. One end, she did it on the Final Four, I believe, or Elite Eight. I think it was the Final Four game.
Final Four. It was Final Four.
She was going when they're going to the championship.
I've been here about that all season, not just Final Four. But that was one instance.
Yeah, but
this
is
recent.
This is the instance that we're going to focus on only because it has a tie-in. So, she did her John Cena, you can't see me. I probably couldn't see it because she was out here dropping threes on y'all from a different area code. And so, championship game, everything was almost signed, sealed, and delivered. And Angel Reese came through with the same sentiments. And Twitter went viral. It just spread like wildfire. Everyone had something to say. And of course, the people who are doesn't like that much melanin in their taunting, they were saying it was a disgrace, and it was a disgrace to the sport. She's classless, things of that nature. And
more cream in my coffee, please.
So obviously this caught even more fire, and nothing against Caitlin Clark, because I think she put out a statement recently saying that I'm a big fan of Angel, and I'm passionate, and I didn't take anything personal. We're in the heat of the moment, and that's a battle. That's what we do. We talk trash. That's just kind of par for the course. So it didn't really seem like there was any personal animosity, but again, she's kind of swooped up in this whirlpool of America, a microcosm of America, right? So yeah, so let's just kick it off, man. What, to me, it was kind of a very blatant level of hypocrisy, and people kind of, took their sides, picked up their pitchforks. So I'm assuming we're all on the same side of things, meaning that like we both thought this all was just ridiculous and it's very hypocritical. But let me extend a little bit further. What's probably the most upsetting part about this whole like backlash, where Angel Reese, being a African American woman, getting all the flack for something that her white constituent did with way more fervor. So I'll start off with you, Deuce, man, with your Oakland. Is that Oakland? City of Oakland?
You know it's Oakland.
Okay.
The town, baby.
Okay.
You know the town. You know why? Because we back, man. Andrew Wiggins is coming back this week. That's a whole other topic for another week. But I'm feeling the vibe, baby. Let's go.
So yeah, I'll kick it off with you, man. What you got to say about this whole hypocrisy, man? What's upsetting to you? Or does it even upset you? Maybe it's just like used to it.
It's both. I think two things can be true, man. I'm not shocked by it. I'm not shocked by it at all. And I think that's the scary part, right? Because we've been seeing this for so long. The thing that's killing to me, when events like this happen, normally there's elapsed time has happened. Bruh, Caitlyn did this just a few days ago, right? And now, when Angel does it, it's an issue. So you have the two side-by-side comparisons. And it's color. I know some people say it's color and gender. Some gender is in there, but just sticking on the color line, Caitlyn was praised for being a fierce competitor. All the adjectives were great. Kind of like how they describe athletes, right? You're a white athlete, you're intelligent, you have a feel for the game. It's all of these adjectives are all mental. Black athletes is he or she is strong, they're muscular, look at their size, it's all talk about
athleticism.
Athleticism, yeah, very athletic, right? Just a dumb brute out there jumping around, right? This is something up, man. I'm mad at it's so blatant and so obvious, and yet people still choose to admit it. It's right in your face. Not shocked, still frustrating. I hate it for Angel Reese because she had a phenomenal game, put down another double-double. I think she leads the most in women's college basketball. Her footwork is amazing. Things we should be talking about. Her footwork and patience for the game is phenomenal. Clark's range is sensational, right? But we're not. We're talking about the gestures that were made in competition. When we play street ball, people talk trash, man. It motivates you. Gets the blood going, man. It's part of sport. You want to dominate. I just hate that it's so in your face. It's so, the time was back to back and people still choose to have a blind eye, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I'll just let that be what it is. Let it sit where it is, man. Reg, what you got?
Like y'all talked about, man, there's a lot of layers. There definitely is the layer of women, because we saw it happen with Serena. Like, these male athletes can be out here getting upset. They're passionate. You're in the game. You're focused. Things aren't going your way. You might be angry when you do it. Oh man, he's a fierce competitor. That person's a fierce competitor. Seems like we try to overlay the way that women respond in the sport. We don't let them have the same freedoms that we do other athletes. Mm-hmm. So that's the first layer. And then, like you say, the gender. I've been hearing about Caitlyn Clark doing this kind of stuff all season. That's been the story, and I'm here for it. I'm happy. Okay, like, it brings excitement to the game. They asked the coach after about it, and she's like, I don't know anything about that. Like you were talking about the speed of things. After in the same game press conference, they were talking about the social media blowing up, like right after the game. Like, things happen so much quicker now. There are but Tara, she's like, I'm not on social media. That don't bother me. Like, let's talk about, I heard our tickets were more expensive than the men's. Like, let's talk about that. There's so many things that we should be talking about, but instead we're talking about this. You had this clown, Keith Olbermann, who used to be over at ESPN. So I think he has some experience with sports. He tried to cop out and said, I don't follow basketball at the men, women's, professional, or college level, so I didn't know. because they like, bro, Caitlin's been doing this all season. So he apologized for the backlash, claiming he didn't know, which is fair. Like, it's the championship game. Maybe he didn't see the other things, but maybe do some research before you comment and come so hard about how somebody's an idiot. Like, it just seems.
Wait, he called Angel Reese an idiot?
Effing idiot in classes.
Yep.
Was he one of the main? Because I didn't watch after the game. I watched segments of it. Was he one of the main commentators? Was he a color commentator?
He's not a commentator. He used to be on ESPN. He's just
okay. This is just like his podcast or auxiliary.
Just on Twitter. No, just on Twitter. Saw it pop up in his timeline and reacted like that. He just jumped all the way out the gate with no context. He just saw it. I don't like it. And then he came back. He's like, oh well, I don't think any of them should do it. I don't like it. But it just seems like, I don't know what it is. You know, we say race. It's hard to know what is what. But like, how people come out the woodwork and just feel like, I gotta correct this thing I seen right now. You see people like, if I don't know what sport he covered, if he don't watch college, I don't know what he was doing when he was at ESPN, to be honest. If he said he don't watch anything, because they do it in hockey, they do it in lacrosse, for God's sake. People
I just want to interject.
Go ahead.
I want to interject one thing, man. You said the race that is hard to dissect of is that. I don't know if y'all remember when Baker Mayfield, I think it was college.
Mm-hmm.
He won a game and he took the Oklahoma flag and stabbed it in the middle of that other team's field. I forgot what team it was. It was a rivalry game. Oklahoma, must have been Texas Tech or somebody. And he stabbed it down there. Everybody was praising him for that.
Yeah.
Praising him, competitor, Gerard. And Baker's, he's white. You know, we all know that. I feel like we know what it is. It's pretty obvious. That's the only thing I wanted to say.
Yeah. But like, when somebody says, oh, I don't watch the sport, I'm talking about, I don't know what's the motivator for you to not, something's never been on your radar, but you saw a black woman still celebrating, and I got to get on Twitter and say something for something I never watched. It's hard for me to identify, where does that come from? Yep. You're going to say, oh, it wasn't race, right? That's just going to be his response. I'm sorry, I didn't know. But what motivated you? It didn't pop up on your radar when Caitlin was doing it. And we know white athletes typically like have a broader audience, a broader appeal, like. So for whatever reason, that never came on your radar, and then this just popped up, and you just, I don't watch this. But I'm so invested. I got to say something.
Activated his inner jam.
You know what I mean?
His inner racist.
For this thing that I'm saying I have no interest in, I need to correct this. Like, why are you so invested, sir? So I don't get it. And then to make matters worse, another layer on top of that, we talk about race and we talk about gender and we talk about how, you know, there's the backlash. We shouldn't have things like affirmative action and things like that. Here we go. Everything should be merit based. The winners win. Here goes Joe Biden. We should invoke both of them. Invite both of them.
Well, Jill Biden.
Jill Biden, yeah. My bad. Yeah. We should invite both of them. Like, it's a meritocracy until it's not, but it always seems to happen. Again, it's hard to separate when it's race or not, but we're going to break tradition when the black player wins over the white player. It just seems, you know, the time is not great. Yeah. That was my synopsis of it, but I wish I would have saw the game. It seemed like it was a great game.
That's phenomenal.
Caitlin's been cooking all season, so shout out to both of them. Let's see where this goes for both of them.
Cool. All right, Kev, what you got?
Man, I don't have too much to add to that. I think what needs to be said was said, but shout out to both of them, like Reg just said, 'cause I think both of them were balling. I didn't watch the game, but I saw the highlights, no extended highlights. So I felt like I saw enough of how the game was flowing and how they were performing. To me, at the end of the day on the court, like we've heard from Caitlin, it's just athletes. We just ballers out here. We balling. And the public is the one that came and blew this whole thing out of proportion. You can't claim ignorance for anything in this situation. You can't say, oh, I don't watch it, but I saw this, like what Reg was saying. I feel like that goes out the window. You can't even come like, oh, well, I only saw this little piece. If you only see that little piece, but have nothing to say, wait until you see more of the picture instead of trying to speak up real quick. This other guy, Dave Portnoy from Barstools, he called her a piece of ish. Like, really though? You don't know me from this one particular expression, an expression that someone previously did, and you have nothing to say about them. to all the way to this level 10, I'm a piece of ish now, just like that. Like, that's the most frustrating part to me, is how aggressive and how passionate people are about what she did. It's like, really though, where's all this passion coming from? Where's all this animosity coming from? And we kind of know where it is, but it's upsetting to see it constantly be reaffirmed. It's like we keep trying to tell y'all what the situation is, but then y'all want to act blind, like, nah, there ain't nothing wrong here. It's just, you know, we all want people. No, we ain't want people when these kind of situations come up. You show us right here. Look, the evidence, right? You provided the evidence. Twitter is the evidence. So it's like, don't come back and say nothing about we all want people and there ain't no difference, and y'all just over exaggerating, or y'all mistaking the situation. It ain't really a race thing. Nah, y'all keep showing us over and over that it is a race thing. Y'all keep showing us over and over it is a gender thing. Y'all keep showing us over and over that y'all hold double standards. So it's frustrating to me when the evidence is clear as day. You yourself is proving it, but then want to have something else to say when somebody's trying to make a point towards the fact that there's some prejudice existing. Like, nah, man, bonfire to that. Like, y'all admit was what? At least admit to yourself that this situation, side by side, had a different response. You explain it to me then. If I'm wrong with the explanation, please enlighten me, because I'm willing to listen.
Yeah. And I think that's another component that you just brought up. It's like, it's one thing when we, you know, pros get trash talk, but you're talking about young black females, like, or even just young females. Like, a grown man came on and said, yo, you're a piece of shit. Like, we got kids, we got daughters. Like, that's how you reacted. That's how you came in and conducted yourself. That's crazy.
Ugly.
Yeah.
Ugly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Ugly.
Which is ridiculous, right? Like, whew. I mean, I can't add much more to what you guys already added, because I mean, at this point we just add more seasoning to the gumbo. So I'm not gonna over season the gumbo. However, you know, yeah, it is. I will agree that a lot of it is a snapshot. Again, I mean, we've had, how many data points have we had throughout the 200 years, I don't know, 1776, 890, 300, 400 years that we've had, you know, as a country, right? I mean, we both know, we all know. I think there's a lot of people who do know. There's a lot of people who don't know. Unfortunately, that sucks. That's unfortunate for them. And I don't see how you can, especially as a, I mean, fine, if you a person who just a blue collar laborer somewhere in, you know, Alabama, somewhere backwater Alabama, fine, whatever. If you're a media guy, yes, I did say that. But if you're a media guy,
right, like, why that specific state? That's why
I mean, because Alabama
like,
got a lot of backs. They got a lot of backs. It's a multi-back state. It's a multi-back state. You okay with that?
A multi-back, like, that's not even the phrase.
Is that right, dude?
He's over there making he became Beyonce, making a word like bootylicious enter the dictionary. He's calling the state a multi-back state.
I mean, aside from Birmingham, what do you guys have?
Huntsville, bro.
Okay, 2.
Mobile, Alabama.
Mobile, Alabama. Anyone that wants to go? Anything else? Tuscaloosa, Alabama. See what I'm saying? I rest my case. I mean, at least Florida has Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Tampa Bay, Jacksonville. But we have Nashville, we have Knoxville, Memphis.
We got Nashville and Memphis.
The Great Smoky Mountains of Chattanooga. Like, you see, like, every state, every city has.
They got Usher.
We got Usher. We got Isaac Hayes.
You got what mountains? What mountains? Which mountain range you got?
The Great Smoky Mountains, the Great Appalachian Mountains. Okay, anyway, so see, that's what I said. Yeah, I know what it is. I know my state. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So, thanks for taking me off the tangent though. But anyways, like Alabama, backwood somewhere, you know. So, as I was saying, like I can understand if it was someone doesn't really watch it, they plugged into the wrong kind of like media outlets. They see this, they just jump on the bandwagon, you know, with the pitchforks. But you a media guy. Like, this is what you do. Like even as a from an occupational, I want to be ethical or kind of like do the due process. Yo, you're not even doing that, bro. You're just coming out here and then you're, saying what you're saying. It doesn't really look good, I would say. But again, people are quick to jump on Twitter or speak their thoughts about things, and it's easy to talk ill of cultures that you don't understand. And I mean, maybe you don't understand basketball culture. Maybe you don't understand, women culture. I don't know what it is, because I'm not even gonna say black culture. I do not understand black culture, but this is not even the black culture thing because Caitlyn did it, right? So it's a basketball culture thing, and you just was you were so plugged into whatever gets you triggered that you just say what you're gonna say. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I would just say it's unfortunate for Caitlyn and all of LSU for their first national championship to have this as a more of a trending topic than them actually winning their first championship. But anytime you're the first of anything and there's some melanin in there, we know it's always gonna be like, oh, look at this person here, he's dancing around the home run plate, look at him, it's just a disgrace to the game. Like, what? So more of the same. This is just what America is, and it's ingrained in the blood. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna take 400 years to get that thing sliced out and spliced, and to where we don't have that anymore. So yeah, so that's kind of my take on it. Anything else y'all want to add? Or I got some other questions too about this, but
I just want to give a shout out to Sam Jackson's reply to Keith Olbermann on Twitter, because Sam Jackson is cool with LSU star guard Jasmine Carson, who's been lost in all of this. Just because her play, phenomenal. She was LSU's point leader. The woman shot 83% from 3-point, but like unheard of. But he responded by saying, "I'm not gonna cuss on you, but thanks for reminding us what little the energy actually is, Keith." So
wow,
classic reply from the GOAT Samuel L. Jackson to Keith Olbermann.
Yeah. So I mean, I know Reg touched on it a little bit, bad, but Jill Biden is tone deaf as as opportunistic as she is. She found a way to be even more tone deaf and just kind of add fuel to the fire. It was like, hey, all this backlash, LSU, congratulations. Can we invite Iowa to the White House?
She said she was gonna ask Joe to invite them.
Can we get some second place runner-ups into the White House? I mean, we've never done this before, ever, in the White House, history, right? Just be like, let's bring both contestants to the carpet. I thought we were America, man. America, which is like, we celebrate winners, people who are, number one, people who are masters of their craft, and in this instance, it's like, can we get some second place people too? We okay with second place? I don't know. Maybe it's a melanin. Not enough melanin. It's too much melanin, and they need to dilute it a little bit. I don't know. But yeah. This is how tone deaf. Again, opportunistic. How tone deaf is this move for Jill Biden? Hopefully, Joe is just like reading the post, ask Barack on the side, like, hey, should we or shouldn't we? I hear a lot of this stuff on that Twitter stuff. So what do you think? What are your thoughts? Should I not?
Joe was asleep when that happened, man.
She's supposed to consult. Why she ain't consult Michelle? What would you do, Michelle? Like,
I wish you would ask Michelle. Michelle was like, really? Really?
Anybody, please.
So the phone a friend, that was crazy. It's bad for multiple reasons. Like, what does that look like? We talk about zero-sum game and whatnot, but you invite both teams. Granted, it's an honor to go to the White House regardless, but now however many people are on the team and the staff and all that, was it like 22, 30 people or something? Mm-hmm. Now that's like 60 people. There's only so much time in the day. It's only one visit, so you're diminishing the experience of the winners for what? And that's also what privilege looks like. Okay, you lost, but you get to go anyway, right? And it's hard. Like, do you blame them if they do go? Of course you're not going to protest to it. It's a chance to go to the White House. So it is tone deaf, and like Kev was saying, it's a slap in the face. It's something that we know exists, and it's kind of like, oh no, this doesn't happen, and it's just in our face. It's gaslighting almost. So
yeah,
bro, the statement though, I'm gonna read it in its entirety. I know we'll have the champions come to the White House. It's from Jill. We always do. So we hope LSU will come. The first lady said. But it's always the but. When people say stuff, it's always the but.
No disrespect.
No disrespect. I forget everything you just said. You're amazing. But out the window. You really about to hit the truth now. But I'm gonna tell Joe. But tell Joe, I think Iowa should come too because they played such an outstanding game. I'm gonna go over to the other tab real quick. Because Chris, you mentioned this in the beginning. The score was 102 to 85. 102 to 85.
Speak on it.
What outstanding game, sis? What you talking about?
Yeah.
The 30 points from Caitlin, the amazing shoot.
She's the only one that showed up. And
Like Caitlin, man, you said the team played an outstanding game.
She don't want to go under that whole umbrella of. Come on, man. Like you're an athlete. You understand exactly who gets this opportunity. You don't want no pity patty. You don't want to be like, no, I want to earn it. I want to earn it. I want to go there under a banner that says, "Hey, I won," or some other event or some other reason you want to invite me there. But don't invite me there because you feel sorry for me or something. Like, keep that, please.
That's true, but in reality, in real life, we know how that works. If they're just like, you know what, Steph, you beat LeBron, but we gonna give LeBron the max contract too. Who's gonna turn down the money? Who's gonna turn down the opportunity to go to the White House? Connections, rub those shoulders, and get in those networks. And that's what privilege looks like. There's
been some teams that turn it down, man. But I mean,
but that's because
Trump.
Yeah, they didn't want to make those connections, but like, it's not unfavorable to make connections with Jill and Joe. They're not seen the same way. So
it ain't a bad thing, but it depends on what you want to stand for at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, we know how hey, that guy's been doing great work, but we're gonna give you the job. We for whatever reason, culture fit. We don't want to give him that promotion. How many people are like, you know what? He really deserved it. We just know how the game goes. That's all I'm saying. I understand what you're saying on principle. That's how it should be, but we just know that's how.
Certain times your principle will override other things. Right now we're talking about money situation with contracts and everything. So usually money is king in a lot of situations, but I don't mean everybody's a sellout.
Yeah. Some people will make that. Some people will make that.
Mm-hmm.
Make that decision. Like, hey, I didn't earn it. I don't want to be there. Like, some people definitely do that.
And you know what? Also, it unfairly puts more pressure on Angel Reese, man. Because now is she gonna LSU? One, is LSU gonna show? Two, if they show, is Angel gonna show?
She said,
and she's gonna be. The killer thing is she's gonna be mocked no matter what she does. So I just hope she does whatever feels good to her at the time. But yeah, that's right. One more statement. The White House secretary. This is a job on which I don't wish upon anybody, my worst enemy. I would never want you to be the White House press secretary. Here's what they say. Lady, so the press secretary for the first lady later clarified Jill Biden's comments on Tuesday, and said, quotations, they were intended to applaud the historic game and all women athletes.
I'm sorry?
Excuse me?
Are you inviting all 64 teams? I'm trying to figure out what part of this.
What?
They not women?
Because that's the thing. Like, there was a lot of good games leading up to good games. Do you invite the Final Four? Do you invite the Final 8? Do you invite the Final 16? Do we invite the entire 64? Do we invite all the women? If you're a woman athlete, just roll call. Everybody show up.
Raise your hand if you're a woman.
Scrolling through all the pictures, man.
So
we just gonna take a picture of the planet from a satellite and put that on the wall. All of y'all the winners.
Exactly. I too am a woman. I only thing I would say about this is, and again, this is really more so of my. I mean, we've already kind of talked about it, but like, if anyone wants to see what it takes for the black woman or black person or non-Caucasian person to achieve the same level of success as a white person, all you gotta do is look at this. I got second place and I get to enjoy the same fruits of the labor as a person who was the best. Mm-hmm. That's all I really had to say on that. Jill Biden is tone deaf, but I'm not surprised. You know, again, and I think you said who was in her ear or something like that. Like, who was out there?
Somebody should have been in her ear. She should have called.
Yeah.
Like,
Anybody.
That's the first question I had too. Like, what did she talk to?
The same
did she
people
drop the tweet herself? Do they write their own tweets? The teammate was like, "Yo, I don't know, Jill." Nobody was just like, "Jill, that ain't it, Jill."
Yeah.
Elon let that go through.
He wants all the smoke. That's more views on Twitter. I'm like, yes.
So this
is not me. It's
so
not
you
me.
you guys don't know this. This is a very unrelated, like, two separate events, but very interesting on how this looks, right? So we just talked about how number 2 again is getting the same treatment, the same awards, right? In North Carolina, I don't know if you guys heard of this. North Carolina, the Republicans are looking to draft a bill that will ban participation trophies because the state senator Bobby Honig says what we're not teaching our children is to be prepared for life, be prepared for failure. How ironic is this? I don't know. I thought that was very ironic how, you know, on one side it's like, well, you know, let them come too. Sure, they lost. They're not winners. Sure, they lost. But give them some of that participation. Just give them that trophy too, right? And then on the other side, it's like, we should ban participation trophies. They should be ready for failure, blah, 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 whatever. So I just thought that was very interesting.
I think the Republicans are looking at the Democrats. Oh, look what the Democrats did. Let's do the opposite. Yeah.
So to be fair, even better, right? So this probably happened over this weekend. I see like this article here says April 2nd.
Wow.
It could have been.
I wouldn't put it past him, man. You know, but objectively speaking, I've always hated participation trophies. I never understood it because, like you said, it prepares you for, if you're going to continue in sports, even amateur sports, right? It prepares you to take that loss and how to deal with it. And when we talk about sportsmanship, it's not exploding when you lose. Have passion, but don't explode, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with that. Even though I think North Carolina's Congress should be focused on bigger issues, but however,
yes, please.
What do you say?
Yeah,
sure.
It's a win. A win's a win.
Come on, son.
Tax money at
Politicians
work.
focus on the right issues. That ain't happening. It's gonna be another 100 years before we focus on the right issues.
Participation trophies on TikTok, bro. I tell you.
Yeah. So I just want to throw that in there. That's all I had to contribute to this whole
That's interesting.
to the Jill Biden thing, because obviously that's self-explanatory. But on a lighter note, man, let's just kind of end off on a positive note and shine a light on what, you know, the positive outcomes that come out of this situation, right? So the championship game was the most viewed game ever by either tournament or WNBA. I'm sorry, college women college tournament history, right? So I want to say like it drew an all-time high of 11.5 at one point, 11.5 viewers, and it averaged about 9.9. So about 10 million viewers would tune in, which, you know, again, I want to say that was higher than the men's. So
yeah, I think so. Yeah. And then she said they sold out. And the coach is bringing up like, hey, we sold out and Taylor Swift's in town.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was just saying she had.
Now.
Nah, she wasn't coming for it. She was just like, despite Taylor Swift being there, she was just throwing. She just saying, hey,
by
these are all the
comparison.
reasons we should be celebrating.
Yeah.
Like, she was putting the focus in the right place.
I think it's good also for the sport, any sport, when you have new blood coming to the championship levels, man. LSU's number one. Having Iowa, I can't remember the last time they've been this far. Women's basketball, if it wasn't Pat Summitt in Tennessee, if it wasn't, I forget his name, at UConn, or South Carolina recently with Don, I didn't know these other teams. So it's good to see that new blood get in there, different styles of play. Angel Reese coming in as a star, Clark coming in as a star. And once again, I want to give a shout out, Jasmine Carson, man, like balling in the big game. And she's still, with all this attention about the John Cena thing, the ring pointing, it's still overlooked. The game is still overlooked. What she did for the championship game, come on, man, phenomenal.
Yeah. So looking forward, do you think this is a turning point for women's sports, women WNBA, and women college sports? Because I mean, it was just like 3-4 years ago, they were talking about the differences in how men's college tournament, how they're treated, like their amenities, and then like their locker rooms, and then like the women's locker rooms, which was like home and away. It was Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and I don't know what's the Oracle Arena, which not saying anything bad about that, but it's a little dated. It's a little dated. It's a little dated.
Last Chance U Stadium.
Yeah. So, but do you think that this is going to be a turning point? Seeing how this garners so much attention, hopefully that like flows over to the WNBA, because we did see this with, if you guys remember, well, maybe you don't. This is kind of what the NBA needed, right? The Magic Johnson, Larry Bird championship game. Magic won. They flowed over into the NBA. Now the NBA is pushing Magic and Bird, all late 70s and 80s, right? So that's why you got the Showtime Lakers and the Boston Celtics, why they hate each other, right? So, but like, do you guys think that this is going to be something that's going to snowball into a positive, situation and uptick for women basketball and also women's sports in general?
That's tough.
Or maybe I'm just
funny. It's funny you said that, because it just reminds me of like watching the Winning Time show. Like, even though Magic won, the focus, the golden boy was Bird.
Yeah.
Who was getting drafted first? Who was who was getting the opportunities, the looks? Who was favored for MVP? All the attention was on Bird. So, but to go back to the positive note, I was going to say before you even brought up this point, just both. I can't wait to see both of them in the WNBA. The energy they bring, and then the talent, like you mentioned, the point guard, like. The talent level is there, but also just that energy to make it exciting. Like, people want to watch it. They want to see the drama. That's why we watch the NBA. A high level of talent, but also, the personalities and seeing people perform on the biggest stage. So I think it will get pushed. I think we'll see that, if they end up on different teams, or even if they're on the same team, it'll be brought up about those moments in the NCAA, and that energy just build up.
We still got a minute. Angel's a sophomore. Clark's a junior. So we still got a minute. So we still got at least one more year of college basketball play in this. And Chris, I hope you're right, because I was looking at the plays and the talent just in that championship game. There were a lot of crisp passes. I like the details in the game. You can see that footwork, crisp passes, timing, play development, patience, right? You see all those details in that championship game that I liked. The shots, I remember watching games from back in the day, the form was drastically different. When you look at Caitlin's shot, look at Carson's shot, it was crisp, it was fast, it was quick. I think it's a wait and see. This could just be an outlier with these two teams, the narrative around them. It'll definitely carry over the next season with these teams. I think it's a wait and see. I do think girls are playing the sport earlier in age, longer, so they're coming into college with more talent. So we'll see. I hope so.
So in the NCAA, do you typically play all 4 years, like for men's?
I don't know what CBA rules for WNBA like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering because you said they had some more time. Huh?
They do have more time. They have to be at least 22 before they could apply for the draft. They're definitely different than the NCAA.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
Because
England's is 21.
For NBA.
No, Caitlin's
WNBA.
is 21.
Oh,
Caitlin's is 21.
Yeah,
For
you gotta be
WNBA.
22. And certain amount of the years, or have graduated, one or the other. So you either have graduated, or you're 22 years old.
This is all WNBA rules, not NBA.
WNBA, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Angel was saying that that's because of the just the money situation, the fact that you don't have as much money as the NBA, so you're not trying to rush too many people into those slots because slots are limited. Number of ability. So trying to keep the highway a bit slower.
Hopefully that changes.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with Deuce on this one. I'm hoping that it is, but people are so finicky when it comes to the market and products and hype for a product. One day you're on it, next time you're off it. It could be an outlier, or it could be a momentum builder. It's a bad thing that these two athletes are not in the same conference where we would see them after actually.
Oh man, can you imagine that?
That would have been much more, like we mentioned with Bird and Magic. That's something that we expect to see them at least a couple of times throughout the season, facing one another, and again in the playoffs. With college and sports, again, these are teams we haven't really seen here before, so they have to do all this process to get back there again. Some people are impatient, They might tune in and watch a regular game where Caitlin isn't playing, Reese isn't playing, and they're like, I don't feel like watching this anymore.
The Tiger Woods effect.
Yeah, you just never know, man. But I'm with Deuce on the quality of the game. To me, was much better than what I've seen way in the past. And I say way in the past because I haven't really kept up with basketball or NCAA in general, college sports in general. And from the highlights, from what I'm seeing, the passing and what I'm seeing, it definitely is more on par with what's entertaining to my eyes. That the eye test was definitely something that drew me in. So I'm willing to tune in more now and see what's going on. But these are two stars, man, who had a huge following prior to the championship. I know Caitlin, she was featured on several stations, ESPN. I heard Steph. I really got to know her through Steph. Steph made a comment about her and talking about her range and her fearlessness. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? And, he said her name. I was like, okay, let me check her out. So there definitely was some reasons why we got this huge following for this particular matchup. Hopefully it transfers. That'll be the hope. That'll be the goal.
I mean, she even got flowers from Sue Bird, who, people might not remember, but Sue Bird was a phenomenal college. Her and Taransi, oh my God, that backcourt was unstoppable.
Bird, yep.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, two of my
Big
favorites.
names. Yep. I see. Yeah, big names. Those are big names. You know them.
Yep. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I hope this trend continues. Again, like I said, there's so many people who really want them to succeed, and people really investing in women basketball and women's sports in general. So, the only thing they're missing is the viewership, the engagement, the people who, I think someone mentioned, like, yo, do you know anyone wearing a WNBA jersey on the streets? Like, you don't know anyone, right? Not even the women. I'm not to blame women. Not saying it's women's fault, but it's just one of those things. Like, yeah, you really just want to see them, do the sport that they like to do, and also, it's a good quality product. It's not like it's horrible. Actually, I would probably prefer watching WNBA, and even to some degree, women's college basketball over men's college basketball. And we know men's college basketball just draws tons of money, billions of dollars, right? But to me personally, like, I'm not really a fan of college basketball. It's just too many mistakes. It's just so many mistakes on top of each other. Just it looks very amateurish. I think it's kind of what I'm getting at. But
Yeah.
You know, I definitely enjoy all of it, and I do hope that the league continues to flourish to the point to where they don't really have to like maybe lean so much financially on the NBA and all that stuff, right? So
Overseas.
yeah, and then having to go overseas just to make ends meet, or at least kind of get your fair share of money, which is crazy. Like, I don't know if women's basketball is more popular over there, but they definitely are paying more money over there. So
that's worth a little Google search. How are they able to pay them that? Yeah.
So
Where's their revenue stream? Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see on how that turns out. Okay, all right. Well, let's move on then. We got a little bit of time left. We're gonna talk about this thing, man. The new CBA deal for the NBA, the NBA PA, and all those people who own all those lucrative companies and organizations they call NBA teams have come to an agreement for a new 7-year deal that will, have an opportunity for them to opt out 1 year before, on both sides, on either side. So some of the highlights of this new deal, obviously, I think the revenue split's going to be the same. It's going to be a bigger bucket though, so everyone's going to get paid, a raise, if you will. The 65 game minimum for people to get postseason awards. So you got to play 65 games just to qualify. And there's some other highlights here too. In-season tournament, which is probably going to go into effect sometime soon, where with monetary incentives for people who win. I think it's $500,000. I think something like that right now. Yep. And if you lose, well, guess what? You play a tournament and you had to play games. Sorry. With the removal of marijuana as a banned substance, that is also a thing. Second luxury tax tier has also been added. There's some other things too. NBA players can invest into NBA teams and WNBA teams. There's a bunch of other things like that. So I mean, it's probably there's a lot of information in there, but we could just try to break down what we captured, what we witnessed, or what we read, and then kind of like speak on it. So, what are some of the highlights? I guess I could start with Deuce, man. What are some of the highlights of the CBA deal that either sparks interest in a negative or a positive way, and would that hurt or help the season going forward?
I feel like hating on my team, right? The original Oakland.
Never
Warriors.
heard of Oakland Warriors, by the way.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. That's what we call them in the town. So I don't know why y'all took your head to the side, bro. Like, Greg, I don't know what that's about. Like, you gotta critically get next.
Yes.
Stress that out, man.
Are you in the town? Like what are you in the town?
My spirit is there, man, always. So it's interesting because Golden State's spending a stupid amounts of money. Joe Lacob's pockets is flipped inside out at this point, right?
No, you're not. You see them tickets for that Chase Center?
You're right. You're right.
They own that building too.
Yeah. They still making money everything they do in that building outside of basketball. You're right.
Money being made around here.
The pockets are fat. But they're paying a healthy fee to keep the team together. And I like to say the Clippers, that's a lot of homegrown talent. You're talking about Looney, Clay, Draymond, Steph. Now you got Kuminga, Poole, right? Homegrown talent to keep them together. So like one of the things they're doing, that brother, you were talking about the levels. I'd have taken away the mid-level tax exemption away from them, because that's the only way Warriors, the Clippers, the Nets, when they had everybody, are able to add key pieces. DiVincenzo has been priceless this season. We needed him. Without that, we wouldn't have been able to get him. Without that, Eagles would have never made it to the Bucks. And he's shown to be useful there. The other two, Gallinari, I hate that he got injured. He's a phenomenal player. And John Wall, his little Clippers experiment. It was good for a spurt. They wouldn't have been able to get him either. So I understand the NBA's intent to make it more even across the board. I get it. But like you were talking about LA and the Celtics, Bird and Magic, NBA fans love those franchises. We love those teams. We love, like when it was the Warriors and the Cavs, we got exhausted after it seemed like the 10th. I think there was as many Cavs Warriors championships as Fast and the Furious movies, right? They got exhausted, but we love those teams to root for, like, yeah, they got a good chance of going. On the flip side, they're trying to get other teams like, say, the Pelicans and the Hornets. That fan base's opportunities to root for them to go alone. So I see it, but I feel like they might be missing something here. I hate them taking out that mid-level exception for those teams, because how else are they going to build or maintain? That's my big takeaway from it. I do love the ownership stake, though. That's great for the players. They already make the money, as wealth is generation changing. Now they can have something you can pass along. Hey, here, son, here, daughter, here, whatever. Here's my stake in this team. Come on, man. That's really going to change. I want to see how the other sports are going to do it.
Well, they're not going to do anything. NFL is still going to be like, you get less powers and privileges. How about this? We tell you when to go home and all that. But anyways, the NFLPA is not that great, obviously. So at MLB, they still trying to figure out how to get people in the stands. So they got other things to worry about. So, but okay, that's cool. Kev, what you think about this new CBA, man? What's your thoughts on this, man? Do you think it's positive for the direction of the future for the league?
Man, there's also going to be a wait and see situation. I think the equity is really good. The minimum with the 65 games. Originally, you wouldn't think of it as much. It's like 80% of the games that you have to play. But these days, we've been seeing so many injuries, different load management situations. You're starting to wonder what it is about the game and the way we're playing it in this day and age that's having this effect on the players. And is it a reality of how they're playing and just these new stars? Do they actually need this time off? Is it beneficial to their body to get this time off so that they can show up better in the playoffs? Or is it just, I want to take some time off, I want to chill? Obviously, you want to discourage I just want to take some time off, but you also want to leave room for managing these high-paid players. And if they're resting themselves for the benefit of themselves and the team, it should be allowed to some extent to eliminate, from the category of being considered, even when you are playing pretty well, and you probably would have been the top for one of these awards, get disqualified because, hey, you're 64 games instead of 65. It's kind of tough to have that hard cutoff line, and it be so high at 80%. But they might have some exceptions, so we'll see how that plays out. The in-season tournament is the one I'm most confused about. I have no idea what that's about. What's the benefit to that other than the potential monetary gains, which is $500,000. They were shooting for $1 million. To me, that's still shooting for a little bit low. It's $500,000. I'm comparing this $500,000 with an article I recently read since the CBA came out with Joe LeCobb, who got fined because he mentioned the NBA luxury tax is unfair. How much did he get fined? $500,000. And it's like, oh, okay, you can just get $500,000 off of just finding somebody like that on the drop of a dime. And these boys are here playing an extra tournament, and they get a whole $500,000 to split. I don't know. It may not be worth it, but I know that viewerships.
It's not $500,000 per person. It's $500,000 for the team.
That's how I understood it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I thought it was $500,000 for each individual, not for the team. Each individual.
Yeah, it gotta be each player, because that at that point, come on, that's a gig.
Exactly. That's how I understood it. But hey, even if it's $500,000 per person, that could be a good chunk of change that's put in your pocket. Let me know, because that's $500,000 for who? Everybody? For the whole entire squad? Bench players and all? Like,
it gotta be. That's the only way that makes sense to me, to be honest. That's the only way that makes sense.
Yeah, I want to say that's what the case is. But let me see if I can find it real quick. I can tell you guys. Let me see. Removal of marijuana in season tournament.
That's a good one too. The removal of the to invest in cannabis.
Let's see here.
While Chris is looking that up, another thing I think a lot of people were expecting was the double draft, right? The high school and the college draft. We didn't get that. And the article I'm reading from CBS Sports actually says that was a pushback not from the owners, but from the players. A lot of vets were worried about them losing their jobs to high schoolers coming in, right? Mm-hmm. Which when I read that, I was like, that makes sense. I can see that. So the players actually pushed back on allowing high schoolers to come back entering this thing to the league out of high school.
Cold. That's a little cold to me. That's blessing.
It's only a two-way. It's only a two-way contract, too, right?
Yeah, that's. Yeah. I think that's cold.
I don't think it's cold. I mean, it's self-preservation.
Yeah.
It's the same with the two-way contract. Yeah, they say for the two-way contract situation, now you have one less salary player, but then you open up the opportunity for an additional two-way player to make his mark and step up. So it's like, yeah, I wouldn't say cold, but these things are, there's some positives to it as well, depending on where you stand on the totem pole, how you're going to view it in high school and you're balling out and you want to get in. This is hurtful to you, you know what I mean? You're a veteran. Hanging on by a thread.
Maybe, right? Maybe the G League, that's not yet established, but you're feeding that pipeline that we say is exploitive, right? If they can't go to G League, more likely than not, where did they go?
Europe.
Nah. You know what the more likely option is. They're going to NCAA where they're playing for free and putting their bodies on the line. Right?
On the flip side, though, like to Kev's point, if I'm a vet, I already seen I lost one opportunity to get on the team because they increased the two-way contracts from 2 to 3 per team. So that's 3 part-time gigs, 1 less full-time gig, and now you want to add in a double draft.
That ain't the way. That ain't the way. The veterans I enjoy watching play, they still contribute at a high level. We're not just keeping you there because you seniority. Like that's not the move. That's not this is not the office job, right? It's competing for a spot. Like just there. You shouldn't be over here like I'm trying to limit the team. That shouldn't be. So we talk about how these guys are competitive. That to me, that's disappointing. I didn't know about that one. To me personally, I understand where y'all coming from. To me, that's a little disappointing. Especially some people are coming using this is their pipeline, this is their lifeline, this is how they're getting out and feeding their family, and you're just like, well, what about my 15th year in the NBA? Like it's just come on.
Hey man. Why? Well, you see, you want a new young talent to come in lieu of.
Listen, if somebody came and took Haslam's spot, like I appreciate what he's done for the city. He could be an offensive. He could be an assistant coach. There's other there's other things after your career. Like the pipeline. He's already a coach. Be like how do I preserve my spot? Like that should be. So preserving it in other ways, like in terms of injury, you're getting older, your body. Like insurance, like other kind of things like that. But in terms of like, I don't want new talent because I might lose my spot. That's not the way to solve that issue.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I don't have a preference on either. I don't have a dog in the fight essentially, because my thing is this: it's going to self-regulate itself, right? I mean, if you're good enough to be a 38-year-old player, you're going to still get a roster spot. Now
and they're out there,
and
Horfords, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of people who are older and still killing it.
And then there are people who left, and we was just like, they guys should have a spot. Jamal Crawford comes to mind. Like we know that we know players who probably should have a roster spot. They don't have a roster spot. We know people who probably have a roster spot and they be like, yo, this guy's trash. Like, he's 2 years into the league and he's like, yeah, this guy sucks. But he has a roster spot. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like it to me, I think it's a self-regulating entity. So I don't really get overly fall one way or the other. If the veterans actually had that fear, I mean, I don't know who those veterans are, but like Haslam's not playing no more next year. So I mean, outside of him, like who's the next oldest player that you
I don't know about oldest, but I know I love what George Hill stands for personally. I can't remember the last time I've seen him play because he's not even with the Bucks anymore. He's with I think the Pacers.
Yeah, I think he went in and
Is he back with the Pacers?
I remember.
Yeah.
Someone.
Yeah.
So he's another player. Like,
I'm not even knocking the fear. I'm knocking like, yo, we're gonna do this. We're scared. The fear is real. Like that's what happens. You get older. You still gotta put in the same work as these young guys. It's a losing battle. That's what we appreciate. Wow, LeBron's still playing at this high level in his advanced age. Like we appreciate it.
Yeah.
That fear is real. I just don't. We're not gonna let the young guys because we're gonna have to compete. The NBA is not competing.
It is. But I mean, so this is one of the things that didn't get approved or didn't make it across the board with this, or make it to the final draft, right? Which is the lowering of the age, right? You know, you still had to be 19 to make it in, and so I think that was something that originally the NBAPA was going to push for, but I think they decided to drop that in lieu of more critical interest and stuff like that, higher priority interest, essentially. So I mean, yeah, I mean, there's always going to be like that situation where people like, I think the NBAPA wants to, at least to some degree. I don't, like you said, maybe the veterans probably don't want it, but you know, having younger people come in means that there's going to be people who are fighting for a roster spot, and that at this point you're going for potential based off of high school versus potential based off of 1 year of college or overseas experience. And so, you know, again, it'll be the same thing, right? Veterans, they're not, I'll tell you this, people in their prime are not getting pushed out because of people who it's going to be veterans. It's going to be people who probably like at the bottom of the list when it comes down to like your rotations, and they make that call. That's what the management is supposed to do. Like, oh, okay, you just get rid of this person. Okay, let's get rid of this person. Chase people away to get this guy in. Like that's the nature of the beast, right? So, to me, that was the least interesting thing about, or yeah. If you want to be upset about it, be upset about it. But I don't think that's I'm not saying you guys, but like for those veterans or whatever.
Yeah.
But one thing I did find interesting, and I will say, and I'll let y'all get in on it. But I did.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I did find that, yeah, according to Yahoo Sports, every player on the winning team gets a half a mil, and if you lose, you don't get nothing.
That's it, $0. You don't get nothing for going up.
You get a good luck for the rest of the season.
I like it.
So
I don't like it. At least it's per player. That's much better than what I thought it was. So definitely kudos for that. They wanted $1 million though, so they kind of got cut in half on that. That's not good negotiating. But nothing for the other team.
You get your base salary.
Yeah. So, Cameron, you advocating for a participation award?
I'm advocating for, if you are a boxer and you go in the ring to fight with someone and you lose the match, you think you're gonna walk away with no bag?
Well, you get a base salary.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's all of that is a big. So
base salary counts? When you say base salary, as in for the 82 games in the season, or are you trying to say that? Yeah, but that's not in tournament. That would be additional than 82 games, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think those games count towards the regular season.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta see how this thing.
Yeah.
We gotta get that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna see how this thing plays. Like, I don't know if this all been like the framework has been flushed out yet, so we don't know how it's gonna happen and how that's gonna impact the regular season and all that stuff.
Crazy.
But I do like. I am kind of curious to see about the end game tournament. But I'm probably, to me, look, I love this 65 game postseason awards thing. Or it just now we can have this MVP talk and we just say, hey man, did he play 65 games? Yes or no? And if he does it, cool. We ain't gotta talk about him. We can move on to other people. We can move on to coach.
I feel like that's already taken into account.
It is to some degree, but it's relative, right? Yeah. So, like, for example, if Embiid missed more games than Jokic, and they both are like tit for tat, then you just say, okay, he played more games, right? But if they both only played 51 and 55 games respectively, then then that's kind of the it's a relational thing. But if it's like, if you gotta play 60 something games, and that's it, then, and if you don't make that quota, then hey, you don't qualify for those postseason awards.
You know, it'd be hilarious. All the great players who we know are great players who should be contenders for MVP or whatever it may be, just fall like at 64, at 60.
Sure. That's totally fine. I love that.
That'd be the best season.
Guess what? Guess who else will love that? The people who play the 65 games and 70 games and get that All NBA award, and then now they can go ahead and get that bump in their salary.
Great.
Zaza, this your time, Zaza.
Great for them. Great for them.
So if you don't care about the money, sure, I go for it.
I understand the money, but at the same time, you and I know, I got you. You and I know who got it.
Yeah, okay.
So at the end of the day, you know, you keep the bag, I keep the pride.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I want to know what the conditions are. I think 6 a bit low of a bar, just because, you know, you could be injured and miss games. Games are pretty close to each other. You can be injured for a little stretch and miss that pretty easy. Outside of the load management, if it's trying to target load management, I like to see how they carve that up. But if it's just a flat, hey, you missed 17 games, that's out, you're it. I mean, that's it, you're out. Like that would be a little.
I like it. What more?
I guess it's also. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what more else do NBA players need? They started. They gave you one less preseason week, so you ain't gotta worry about that. They stretched out the NBA season, no back-to-backs, no 4 games in 5 nights like it was back when Pop was doing the load management. So they got rid of that.
Back-to-backs where? Oh, like for next year?
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, like, they
instead of being 4 nights back-to-back, it's only like occasional back-to-back.
There's no 4 games in 5 nights like situation anymore. Like they've tried to find ways to inject rest into the schedule, so you're not having such a harsh work week, you know, or month, right? Whatever the case may be. They've done everything that they can possibly do that kind of keep it within this window. What more else would you want?
They ain't do everything.
They gave people off. They give people off for All-Star weekend. All-Star games, like the regular season stops like the Wednesday. It used to not be this. It stopped at Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then the season don't even pick back up until like next Wednesday or the next week. It wasn't like that before.
What I was expecting for them to target this issue was to reduce it to like 72 games. That's what I was expecting.
I don't know why though. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Like what's the problem? Why we can't play 82 games anymore?
We can.
I went through 2.
Back to you're talking about your original question about like what changed. I think you got people, you got some people crunching numbers, some scientists, some doctors, some analytics going on, and they're like, hey, if I put your minutes in this way, I think this is going to give you the best outcome for your body wise. And I think that's what's going on in today's decision. Because
going back to the MVP.
Go ahead,
Kurt.
Going to the MVP thing though, I think it balances out because most MVPs are like the teams at the top of the league, like the top three teams in Eastern and Western Conference, right? As far as being competitive. So if you're out 15, 20 games and your team is still top 3, are you really the most valuable person in that team?
Yes.
Yeah, you can still be the most valuable person on the team.
Yeah,
are you?
You can.
I could still be. Yeah. What you mean?
It's the most valuable player of the NBA.
Hey guys,
if I miss 20,
Giannis plays 63 games so far.
Yeah,
he might just barely go over 65, but he's putting that out
number
there.
1.
And he wasn't low managing. He got injured.
I mean, everyone. Okay, that's fine. But I haven't looked at all of Giannis's, sit outs. But we know plenty of players who be like, "Oh, sore right knee." Nothing like he played all the game. They played all the game. They sat down. Then like, oh yeah, we're gonna rest him. It doesn't say rest. It says sore knee. I got a sore foot. My migraine, whatever headache. You know what I'm saying? Flu-like symptoms, non-COVID. What flu y'all know be here today and then be gone like in 2 days and you back here playing?
That's true. It's real quick. But I guess let me rephrase my point, man. Yeah, you could be the most valuable person on your team, but the reason why Chris Paul didn't win it when Phoenix went to the championships for the only year when he was there, they kept saying because he has Devin Booker though. Mm-hmm. The reason why Steph or KD didn't win it together because they had each other. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's what I'm saying. If you could miss 20, 25 games and your team's still winning, that means you have another one or two other great players on your team that kind of take away from how valuable you are in retrospect to another player, like say Dame. If he doesn't play, Portland doesn't have a shot.
That's just a
But
bad
unfortunately,
team.
we don't really do the most valuable player overall, right? We just do with the best teams. So
It ain't one person necessarily that's going to fill that slot. Sometimes a team effort that's going to come in and have to contribute towards missing that person. If you go to Steph, right, you can't not say Steph is not the most valuable player on the Warriors. But we've seen games he was out, and you know, they performed well, and they managed to get a lot of wins actually with Steph being out. And I don't think anyone would question whether or not he's the most valuable player to that team.
well, that's why I clarified my statement. Not that you're not the most valuable, but maybe it hurts your narrative compared to other players and other teams.
I hear what you're saying. Which
Like
I think
Steph's
is a
value
bad
to the
narrative.
Warriors compared to Dame's value to Portland, vastly different. But then Portland's a bottom tier team, so that argument's null and void.
The other thing I don't like in all this, and I forgot a player or somebody brought this up in the past, like a lot of people are over here side-eyeing the players. Like I guarantee most of the players in the NBA, if they could, they'll play every single game, injury or not.
There's some. Yeah, there's some.
Competitive.
Except for one. Except for Mr. Low Management.
No. Ben Simmons. You forgot about Ben Simmons.
Ben and Kawhi. I know because the Spurs wanted him to come back, bro. But I think you're talking about Steph. Steph said that.
Yeah, so I mean, like, you know, the low management it's like I said, there's an algorithm. The algorithm says you can't play today. It's out of their hands, and you know they understand that's the sacrifice they got to make for the greater good of the team. But I don't think it's like these players can't do it. I don't think these players lack the will to do it. I just think there's some people who are doing some research and saying these are our best chances for success, and that's what's going on.
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit of both.
Nah, and I'm good with that.
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit of both. I think like the Kawhis, the Ben Simmons. I don't think algorithm told them not to play.
I mean, gotta really those out, right?
It needs to be recalibrated. That's the thing.
man.
hey, whatever was going on with Kawhi when he was in the Spurs, he's still dealing with it. So I don't know if you think he's just, you know, lazy. I don't know what you think it is, but whenever they told him to go play and he got re-injured or re-aggravated, he ain't been the same since then. So seems like he had a point. I don't know.
Yeah.
He was also going to different. That story that deserves ESPN 30 for 30, man, because it's so layered. The Kawhi
Team doctor say this, his doctor say this, Pop say that. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. All right, man. Anything else, man? Y'all want to say? This is we kind of getting long in the tooth here. So how y'all feel, man? Y'all is this anything else y'all want to add on this about the CBA?
I don't know, like the idea of an in-gun tournament, but there's a lot of wait and see there. I would like to see a little bit less games and more spread out to deal with this issue rather than this way, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I didn't like the money stuff too, because it's just a lot of teams who just not really trying, bro. Like the Pelicans.
They trying. Pelicans be trying.
I think the Pelicans.
No, I'm not talking about in terms of the talent. I'm talking about in terms of you I'm torn because you don't want it to be a nuclear arms race where people is just trying to throw money at the problem. Like we're gonna buy a team. You don't want that. Mm-hmm. But you have a lot of teams that are just like, hey, if we win, we win. If we the Knicks have been like that for a while. Like they have a good squad now, but for years they've been a laughingstock. Mm-hmm. So I think there needs to be a balance, but trying to decentivize teams from trying to spend and promote the product by spending. Like we like seeing the Warriors play. We like some of these teams. I would like to see a different solution than the one they chose, but we'll see.
I'm with you on that. Draymond echoed that too. It's like losing teams, the owners don't want to spend. Yeah. You know, whereas like OKC, they broke up. But it could have been like one of the best teams in NBA history, right? Other than Harden work because they didn't want to spend. You know? So yeah, I see that. The teams that want to spend, Bomber, Laker, you know, it's four teams like the Dallas Mavericks. Cuban, as rich as he is, does not want to spend. He refuses to spend money. Mm-hmm. And it's going to help him understand. So yeah, that's a good point.
And just look at the Lakers. Like, look at where basketball was before that man was just like, F it, spend the check. And how it elevated the entire sport, even with all this luxury type. Doesn't it go to a pool and feed the other owners anyway? Like, you have these teams that are spending the money, feeding the whole product, fueling the whole product. And now you're being like, y'all spending too much, let's punish you, and we're gonna incentivize these other guys who don't want to spend money.
I mean, also big markets, but also big markets just innately have a geographically have an advantage because they are big markets, right? New York has more money going through that city than Seattle, or not even Seattle. Let's just say like Minnesota or whatever.
Charlotte.
I get that.
So I mean, it's inherently geographically like the resources just are going to be biased towards some of those locations. This is why like a lot of people want to be in big market cities, but you can't have.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean but that's also, so I think that's what the luxury tax was supposed to kind of help offset. So to give New Orleans a better competitive edge by having more capital to spend because of the luxury tax that the big market teams would, go into like that space and pay into to kind of help alleviate, to kind of make, go for more parity. Otherwise you'd be like the baseball, the MLB, and have the Yankees buying everyone, or the Dodgers buying everyone, and just people just throwing money all over the place because they got it. Right. Meanwhile, the Seattle Mariners, no one even knows what they do.
Hey man, the Rockets got it though. All right, these other teams we win. Miami Marlins got it though, right?
Miami Marlins, y'all won.
They won at one point. Like,
I mean, eventually
other teams win, and then like even when you're not winning, you winning. Like, you may not win the chip, but like the product going up, the product elevating.
Okay.
A win's a win.
That's not playing. The Warriors ain't playing themselves, right?
I mean, the Warriors.
You get some of that. So people paying to watch all that money to watch the Warriors. The other teams get a split in that revenue, right?
I mean, now.
Yeah.
Where were they at when they were? Where were they at when they were? They had these bum teams.
No, I'm talking about like these type of teams that are carrying the torch, right? Like it's a better product for everybody.
But yeah, if you have really good product, it doesn't matter. It's not it's not just the Warriors. It's Philly.
A lot of these teams.
It's freaking. It's Milwaukee. It's it's a bunch of teams now. But it has to be.
So let them. My thing is, let them continue to do that. And if you want to have some mechanism tunnels back, but saying, hey, you guys are you guys are trying too hard economically, and we're gonna put a limiter on you. I don't think that's the answer.
I mean,
there should be some control. I don't know, like having a hard cap. It sounds like it's a hard cap.
No, it's not. There's
soft caps.
Yeah, there's 2 soft caps now. But it just so basically what it means is that as you
have to spend more or what?
Well, obviously, I don't know what the threshold is. I gotta look and see what the details are. But essentially,
because you said when you were talking about the trades, you said they could not get DiVincenzo. Not they would have had to spend more to get DiVincenzo. They said they would.
So it's not a hard cap, but there are restrictions in place. So they can spend more money on their team, but they're restricted from using mid-level exceptions to sign DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah. So you spend more money, but what you can do with that money is restricted.
Yeah. So as you go higher into the thresholds of like to the second tier, whatever that is, then you're restricted on some of those things that people who were probably at the threshold or below it would be able to exercise. So like mid-level exceptions, like is one of the ones that he's talking about, and that's one of the things they'll highlight that they'll say would be restrictive.
They can't even do a buyout, but like the Warriors, the Clippers, I don't know who else can't even get buyout players.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not saying that's the thing about these CBAs, at least for the NBA. And NFL is way more restrictive, but NBA is we'll let you do something. We'll give you guaranteed contracts. We'll give you, we won't. There's a hard cap, but like the hard cap is high, right? Like we'll give you a soft cap, and then we'll tax you. And I mean, if you want to go into it, you can do it if you want to, but you understand what the risks are. And it's the same thing with, when we were talking about the veterans versus the rookies, like, or even the players who want to do the 66 games, they want to get a postseason award. Like, now you know what it is. Like now you know what the market is. If you really want to get that money, you will play those 65 games. You don't have to play those games. You don't have to get the awards. Right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with that in principle. I just don't want it to be like it's something out of somebody's control. Whether they got an illness, Wiggins had to go away for a minute. Somebody got injured. That's the thing I don't want to see. If it's just the load management, guys, I have no issue with, hey, if you're not putting it together. I even brought this up when we were talking about load management. Like you said, I don't like the idea of, okay, so who's carrying the load? You getting the superstar max contract sitting on the bench, and these grunt players is taking the wear and tear on their body for you. I don't like that idea.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But if it's, you slipped on an ice cube, you slipped during training up and warm ups like KD.
Come on.
If it was a more serious, injury and you missed 17 games, I wouldn't want to see that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Man, I be dude, that's your fault. I ain't paying for your sick leave. You did.
I know, right? And imagine you on that team. Kevin Durant does that, right? He's out 20 games. You know what I'm saying? Because he rolled his ankle. He still gets on the All NBA, and everybody else on that team was out there carrying whichever team it was Phoenix or Brooklyn. And let's just say this. Let's say because this is even hit closer to home. Let's say Golden State Warriors. Steph rolls his ankle on a wet spot. He out 20 games. He comes back. Clay's been playing the whole time, holding the load down. All NBA season, all NBA awards come through. Clay's left off.
Is Curry putting up MVP numbers over Clay? Because that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, that's my thing. Like, if you're really playing MVP level, something outside of your control took you out for like this hard restriction. I don't even know how they came to this number. This is the hard number. You did 16. You're still in it. But 17, oh my gosh, you missed too many games. Like, to me, I feel like there should be the room for nuance. That's my thing.
I don't know, man, but even with that math, man, like, all right, you say MVP numbers. If I'm playing less games, my body's more rested. I have more options to score more points as opposed to the other guy who's played all the games.
82 games.
Wait. More points? You mean more points like per game?
Okay.
But that's not even really how it works, though. Because there's a sweet spot between rest and not rest, right? You have to come back.
They said it's 65.
You gotta ramp up. You gotta get in the. Players don't just hop off out of injury, right? They have to get in the condition. So it's you're putting up the numbers. But I'm just saying, you putting up the numbers. You're putting up the numbers. It's not just like, oh man, I had a week rest, so now I'm better than everybody else. A lot of people get a week rest and come back trash. Like those bench players ain't better than the starters, right? They get plenty of rest. They're not doing as many minutes. So being an MVP, putting up MVP numbers is putting up MVP numbers in the vacuum. I don't think how much rest you get. Kawhi's, he has his highs and lows while he's been doing this load management the whole time. So just being rested is not a guarantee that you're gonna do better than somebody else. So your talent should just speak on your talent. I understand, and like I said, I feel like MVP already takes that into the equation. That's why they put Jokic over Embiid. Your availability, of course, is taken into account, but it shouldn't be the end all be all. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I hear you. I'm not against I'm not against your position. I do understand what they're trying to combat. So, and I think we both understand that too. I don't know, and again, we don't know how to curb that. You can't tell them you can't rest. You can't tell them that you're not injured. So, there's other ways to probably try to
There are other ways.
Yeah, you can have an independent doctor get a doctor's note.
I mean,
okay.
I understand that, but it needs to align with some process that we put in place. At the end of the day, if you work at a job, you have a certain amount of vacation time. You have a certain amount of leave. So it's not like they're just giving you nonchalant to be like you can show up and not show up whenever you want. So I rather implement it from that standpoint as opposed to saying, here's this limited number of games you need to play to get into this award category. It's more like, hey, if you miss games for no reason, I'm not playing you.
How you an MVP if you miss a game for no reason?
I mean, they've done it before. Players do it. Every NBA player almost has done that since for the past 10 years.
But 17?
Take a L then. Take a L.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? But I think this argument is kind of muted because I'm looking at the stats now, right? So they have StatMuse has fewest games played by MVP, right? Mm-hmm. The number starts at 78. So Karl Malone won MVP 82-83. He played 78 games. That's like where the stats start. So other MVP players have played more games. Mm-hmm. So it's funny. It starts with more
games than that.
According to this, because it's not every year, it's just 20 different lines. It is with Karl Malone because in 98-99 he played 49, but that was a lockout year. So outside of that exception, only people who would not have won MVP: Walton in 78, 77, 78, LeBron and because Walton played 58, James in 11 and 12 played 62, Giannis 19-20 played 63. And Bob Cousy, way back in the 50s, 56, 57, played 64. When Russ won, I was Bill Russell at 69. I thought I was Westbrook, but yeah. So the next one is 69 with Bill Russell. He won 58, 59. He won 69 games. I played 69 games. After that, it's in the 70s. So
yeah, I feel like it is moot.
It's mute. Yeah,
I do. I think the bigger effect you'll see is on the All NBA team.
It'll be more about the All NBA team, and that's totally
that's your pay.
That's how it should be.
To me, I'm okay with that.
I mean, the question to me is how is it we taking that into account for MVP, but NBA already? So that seems like the system is already broken.
I mean, I feel like most people who are MVP candidates usually are all NBA players, anyways, like inherently. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously we talk about 3 to 5 players, but you can talk about 3 to 5 players, 1 to 15 players, like the top 15 players of the NBA at that time, right? I mean, it doesn't say, oh, if you only get all NBA first team, it's all NBA. You have 3 times to get it as a point guard or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, like to me, I think it's more so. I think this is the best way to tactically not to say the best way. This is a good way to tackle giving bonuses and bumps to people who are only playing 50 to 60 games. To me, I could be wrong. I know it is what it is. We'll figure it out. Like we'll see how the people adjust. If you want to make that money, go ahead, make that money, make that pay the 70 games or whatever. Take 70 games and then take the next 12 games off. I don't know. Like, have it built into your schedule. Like, I don't know. Like, people are gonna do that anyways. They already do that. They look at the schedule and say, okay, we're gonna rest this guy this day. We're gonna rest this guy that day.
Yeah.
We do that. They do it already.
Mm-hmm. And that only hurts the fans who save up money to pay these high ticket prices to see 1 or 2 specific players and then they're resting.
Yeah.
Because that schedule's not. They don't advertise it,
I was gonna say make it public then. Make it public.
Yeah, there you go.
They do.
The
lead time is so short. Even if they did make it, like you got to buy the ticket, you got plan the night, and it's hard to get that short notice.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We might see Pat. We gonna see Pat Bev be all NBA all of a sudden.
All right. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Let's go ahead with the sign off stand. That's cool, man. We're sorry with you, Kev, man. What you got?
Man, as always, appreciation y'all rock with us. We know your time is valuable. You can be doing something else, so we always appreciate when you spend it with us. Let us know if you like this episode by hitting the like button. Go ahead and comment if you feel aware about what we said. Let us know your thoughts and anything that we discussed. And if you have any suggestions for episodes to come, let us know. We here.
Cool. Red, what you got?
Like, follow, subscribe. Thanks for spending time with us. That's it.
Ooh, short and sweet. All right, Mr. Oaktown, USA, what you got, man? What's your quiz or factoid?
All right, so Clark, right? Caitlin Clark dropped 30 in a loss in the championship game. So I was curious, what's the most points scored by a losing opponent, right, in the championship game? So before I say the number, what do you think the number is?
Losing team? 23.
40.
You talking about college?
No, yeah, college, women's basketball. So the most points scored by a player on the losing team.
40.
I would say 23.
40. Well, Caitlin has scored 30, so she's not it. So it has to be higher than 30.
Oh. 99 points.
No.
This man playing the prices right.
What'd you say, Reg?
I said 40.
He said 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
50 points.
Oh.
By somebody, yeah.
Kev got it.
Lori Bowman back in 82. So before the 3-point line was introduced in 87, she scored 50.
All in the paint?
Lost. All in the paint. Yeah. She lost to Maryland. Yeah, and just for somebody that we know, Cheryl Swoops dropped 47 and lost.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do know Cheryl Swoops.
Now, you know that lady in the 60s looking at everybody else like, y'all couldn't score points?
Hey, man.
Put up 48.
LeBron all over again.
Yeah.
So, cool. All right, man, it was cool. I didn't know that one, man. If you stay in the college basketball realm, you probably will keep stomping me. So
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I like to keep it in the pros, but it was appropriate for this topic.
Nah, I got you. Cool. So, anything else you want to add? Or is that it?
That's it.
Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, tell us how you.
Alabama.
Shout out to
Thank you,
the mini backs of Alabama, and if you like what you hear, man, tell a friend, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment, man. If you have any thoughts about the CBA, if you have any thoughts about Caitlin Clark, if you have anything about Jill Biden, maybe you want to get a Jill Biden tweet out there, at us, with your, so we can see what happens there, man. Let us know that we on your side, unless you agree with her and you do want Caitlin to show up, then tag us so we can spam that. So so yeah, we're here every Wednesday, and so yeah, we'll hit you all with another episode next Wednesday. So until next Wednesday, guys, I hit y'all with the deuces, man. Peace.
Peace.
Holla.